Well, hello everybody. It's been a minute, right, since I've done an actual show, and my cohort is not here today, so we are planning to do another podcast on Podbean, which will be published on Spotify. So that's me and my wife Mandy, and today, so we're going to cover a couple topics. So LaFace and the NDP in Alberta with the Federal Labor Union with McGowan are going to try to get allies in the Francophone community. An individual who's had her failed projects with the Métis Association and First Nations, because she doesn't have that job no more. But Natalie Lachance is going out there trying to, say she speaks on behalf of all Francophone people in Alberta, which she does not. Tu parles pas pour nous autres. Je vais te dire ça tout de suite, là. Tu parles pas pour nous autres. Tu devrais déménager back au Québec ou quelque chose de même, parce que ici, là, on est tanné d'Ottawa. So I just wanted to say that to Natalie. But moreover, to the effect of this whole debacle that's going on, is the fact that LaFace, McGowan, the ATA, the NDP, all of these left-wing organizations have went out and tried to petition recalls against MLAs that are within the UCP government, and they all failed so far. So that just should tell them, like, you have no support. If you had the support that you think you did, you would have had success with one of those recalls, and you did not. And now you're barking even more. So the way I look at things right now is Daniel Smith has catered to the demands of the ATA membership, putting money into infrastructure to build new schools, put money into address classroom complexities and review, and see what's going on in the school system, and put the money towards the solutions necessary. And here we are, still, you get what you want, and you're never happy with it. And the NDP thinks that, they're going to get Pancholi to replace Nenshi. I already know this. It's a big talk right now that Nenshi might be possibly thinking of stepping down so that Pancholi takes over, and she's just a loudmouth herself. Now, let's just recap the NDP throughout the country. Now, if you go into any NDP city, it's run down. It's hardcore addictions, crimes through the roof, nobody's doing nothing, everybody's profiteering, and they got their non-for-profits taking advantage of federally funded grants. Now, these grants are given to organizations for apparently frontline workers for the harm reduction that pay themselves salaries but not helping anybody on the streets. Billions have been put into this since 2015. Now, it's devastating because now, the numbers of deaths from opiates, and it's outstanding. It's over 150,000 deaths in Canada, okay? And that's since 2017. We have cities that are liberal-run NDP coalition, like in Ontario. Same thing here in Edmonton. We got, it's everywhere. And they've proven that they cannot manage or govern. They're irresponsible and no accountability. Now, in Nenshi's case, look at the debacle in Calgary. You want to add that on with the water mains. This guy's just a wrecking crew. So the NDP, the way I look at it, the metaphor, or not even, the abbreviation, I should say, is needle drugs and pedophiles, because they've catered to the needle and endorsed needle exchange programs and safe injection sites that have decimated our collective. How many people have lost their lives? How many families lost their loved ones? I lost so many people, man, around me because of that, and nobody's going up on murder charges. This is genocide on a level never seen before, and it's government mandated. Same thing with the medically assisted suicide. This is another thing made. How many Canadians have lost their lives since it started? So when you look at just harm reduction and MAID, these are policies that have been brought in by the Liberals and NDP. They've killed almost 350,000 Canadians since 2017 to date. That's how many Canadians. That's over 250,000 people. So over 250,000 people, government mandated programs, eliminating and just killing our own people. And then let's not mention the tent cities that the NDP continuously ignores, right? They're out there propping themselves up and gender this and gender that, and bringing policies in from another separatist group. So the oxymoron of all this regarding the NDP and the Federal Labor Union and Luchesic and all them is the fact that they work with Quebec separatists, Quebec Solidaire, and the whole DEI that was rolled into Alberta with Egal Canada and the ATA was an endorsement done by the Quebec Solidaire group out of Quebec, which is a separatist group that Janice Irwin is friends with and worked with to bring the policies into Alberta and to roll it right through and bully teachers if they didn't comply with the narrative. That's exactly what happened. And then turn around and look at Albertans who want to separate and want independence and call us a bunch of, names and hicks and all that stuff. Here, let's have a reminder of what Nenshi said, right? Mr. Nenshi, I guess we don't deserve to eat. It's interesting that they can go out and protest foreign issues on our streets, burn the Canadian flag, and then when Albertans say we're had enough, they're out there promoting, oh, well, we want, yeah, and all of a sudden they're flying Canadian flags and promoting Canada United. How can Canada be united when these people destroyed the society of Canada, like divided everybody? On to my next topic is the lies out of BC. Again, NDP driven, went and ran to the chiefs to get them some money and create a fictitious lie about the graves that are in Kamloops, right? And then the government's now suppressing the information by just blocking out all the stuff from the FOIAs and chastising people who are speaking up against it. It's interesting that, Pine Creek First Nations, they went out and they actually went and, the ground penetrating radar said, oh, there's anomalies, there might be some bodies. So what did they do? Well, their band came together and they did a ceremony and they went and dug and there was no bodies. So no bodies. And then all of a sudden BC's covering it up. They got millions of dollars. And this is the thing that, I know that there are some burials across the country, some hidden, some people don't even know of, some that are, that are known. But to create a fictional story and weaponize it against the Canadian collective and then say that the people of today are guilty for the crimes of the Crown and the Church of the past that had nothing to do with our people, right? And then now look, EB sells out Vancouver. People are getting evicted from their homes because the natives have got control of the land because of UNDRIP. It's a mess. It's a mess. So how can Canada be united, folks? Where's the Alberta NDP on that, protecting the interests of those who are losing their homes in BC? They're not saying a damn thing, but the Conservatives are saying something. They're trying to defend them. Even the independent MLAs are trying to defend them. People with common sense are trying to defend the whole thing, but no. The NDP is a wrecking machine, and that needs to be said 100% forever. I worked for Jack Layton for 5 years, folks. And my thing with Jack Layton was this. My mom and her friend were running the food bank in Brampton, and they needed donations, and Jack got them donations. And I've always had interest in politics, and Jack took me under his wing to be a volunteer. And anytime that Jack was in Sudbury, Ontario to do a rally, I was always the first or second person to ask the question on the floor in the town hall stuff. So, and I hung out with Jack and some of the members of his caucus. So when you look at the NDP today versus what it was before, it's not the same. And the reason why I support the UCP and Danielle Smith is because Danielle Smith has, she governs the same way that Jack would have. Common sense, think about the people first, find ways to work the system so that the people are getting heard and rectify issues that are coming to the forefront rather than letting them delay. And Jack was all about that. Now, if Jack would have been prime minister and he was alive, Canada wouldn't be in the situation it'd be right now. 100%. At least Jack had the ambition to work with the Conservatives to rectify issues when Harper was in power. Denied a coalition with the Trudeau government and with the Liberal government prior to the Trudeau government. Remember that? So what was the other thing? Oh yeah, now Nenchi. Okay, so before we get into the next topic, um, Nenchi is planning on going to knock on doors in the Edmonton Strathcona riding to talk against the Alberta independence. So this is, I think, breaks electoral rules in some sense with Elections Alberta. I know that it's being somebody is asking the question to see if there's an answer, if we're right or not. But I just find it's interesting that he'll go out there. So I'll say this: Nenshi won by 6,000 some odd votes here in Strathcona. He didn't knock on doors. He relied on the union and the senior citizens that they prey upon, because that's what I call it. The NDP preys upon senior citizens, Lachesic and all of them. That's what they do. They confuse seniors too. So that's what they did. And he only got 6,000 votes versus what McPherson, who's also the MP, a federal MP for the same riding, which I live in, she got like 18,000 votes. So what's that tell you? Now, I hope he does come and knock on my door, because I will have a debate with him. So we'll see. I live in your riding, Nenshi. And I do have aspirations to run for the UCP for Edmonton Strathcona if they allow me. So right now I'm starting to attend some meetings, and I really want change. And I think I can garnish enough support here in Strathcona to win if and when the election's called. So I got a lot of cleaning up to do and training. Like speech is a big thing. Anyways, we need change and we need smart people in government, right? Now, uh, let's see here. Oh, yes. So the next topic. My next topic. Actually, before we do that, I will go to my Chrome browser and show you this thing I was talking about. How the Forever Canadian NDP prey on senior citizens and confuse them, because that's basically their voter base right now. And the other thing too is they're bringing in francophone individuals who don't speak on behalf of French people in Alberta. I can tell you that right now, but she seems to think that she does. So I'm going to play that video. Give me a second. This is from City News, by the way. Well, you know. But you look at all the people that are in the in the video, and they're all senior citizens, and they have no support because the everyday working man in Alberta, the everyday working man and woman, and young adults are tired of paying. We're taxed right through. Like we're consistently nobody listens to us. Federal elections are determined before it even hits us. I mean, we don't have fair representation. So, and then the other factor is these individuals like Luchezek and Enchi and McGowan and the ATA, Jason Schilling and all them. They're just they're destructive. They're constantly dividing people and categorizing them. So how can you say that you want to be United Canada when you have created so much division in provinces across the country? It's not just Alberta. I mean, go everywhere. In any liberal NDP city, that's all it is: division, division, division. And then you look at what's going on, right? Just saying, it needs to be said. So, on that front, there's that. And let's see here. I wanted to show the video from. Whoops. Nope. Show the video from last night. I think I downloaded it. Yes, I did. So there was a pretty cool meteor.
I hope so. I don't like the alternatives.
Whoa. That's so close to the ground. Oh my god. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Holy. Oh my god. That is so cool. What the frick? Oh my god.
100% that's a meteor. That's so cool.
So that video was submitted by, was posted by Mr. Friesen on X, and was shared across many different social media content creators. It was a pretty cool video. So a lot of people were debating, was it a meteor? Was it a rocket? Was it this? But when you look at the trajectory and how the debris is, it looks like it was some type of satellite re-entry that was just burning up in our atmosphere. And that's, you can check out different types of re-entries and you'll see it's the same kind of patterns. I think more if it was a meteor, you would have seen a supersonic, like you would have heard the boom. And yeah, because I mean, look what happened in Chechanka in Russia a few years ago, right? That rock, I mean, then when they hit, man, they explode. There's a lot of gases in those meteors. So that's pretty cool stuff. And then what was those? Oh yeah. So right now, I'm just gonna bring this up right now. In Nova Scotia, there is a bunch of raids happening regarding the Mi'kmaq First Nations cannabis shops. All right, bring that up. All right, so I just Googled it. So, but this is the thing, folks. So, like, I did a video on Facebook earlier today, just, letting people know, like, we got to help the folks in the Mi'kmaq territories, simply because we were, like, I was an activist. Like, I mean, we were successful to get the chiefs in Ontario to get them to have their legalization of their industries with self-governance without the oversight of provincial bodies or federal regulatories. And it just blows my mind that all of a sudden the RCMP is just going to go start going on First Nations to harass them and start doing these raids, right? So apparently there's been raids today, which I will bring up here. Let's see. And that's exactly what's going on. So these chiefs, what I suggest is just write BCRs, giving permission to your band members to have their shops, and send an official letter to the superintendent of the RCMP of Nova Scotia and the Premier of Nova Scotia, the government of Nova Scotia, and also the Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, stating that you're no longer allowed on our lands. And if you want to come on our lands for any kind of discussion or whatever the fact, you have to contact and get the chief and band council and have permission. That's the way it should be. Like, look, I don't agree with some stuff that's going on with First Nations, but I don't agree with what the feds are doing either in some on other things. So at some point, you have the federal Liberals and NDP chirping and weaponizing to get their message across so they can retain control of everything, and then they're going after our people anyways. It's just it's unfortunate, so it needs to stop. Now, before I go, all right, so talking about referendums. Now, Alberta's taken a stance where the Premier and the UCP government is allowing citizen-led initiatives to have referendums to vote on policies and changes that can either benefit Alberta or in the long term could not. But it's always to be beneficial for Albertans. Now, I like this, what we're doing here in Alberta, because it gives the power to the people. Now, the federal government doesn't have this ability. And the federal government, what we're witnessing is they're basically stealing our money, giving it to other countries, investing in programs and their offshore accounts, or giving it to their corporate buddies. And they're just draining the purse of Canada, putting us more and more in debt. And it's us that we're paying for it. So there is no say for Canadians, because what happens is they manipulate the elections, and the real Liberals are still in power, and they sit there and say, well, Canadians want us to do this. Canadians never voted you to do these things, like funding a war in Ukraine and all this debacles with DEI and, inflation. It's just ridiculous. And there's so many easy solutions so that Canadians can feel more peace of mind, but the federal government doesn't do anything about it. Like, look at the food cost, look at the cost of living. I mean, Canada's just inflating it. They want to be like Australia, you know what I mean? Like, just tax us to death, control us. This has to stop. Now, nobody voted the Liberals to do this. Now, I think it's time for Canadians to speak up and say that they need to have some type of law or mandate statutes in place that states that when the government's going to spend billions of dollars or millions of dollars on projects or whatever the case may be, or make changes to certain things, that there should go to a vote from Canadians, have a referendum vote. This way here, Canadians can vote on the matters. They have a say. And if that's what Canadians want to do, then that's what the government passes into law, right? You get the mandate from the people, not the mandate from your friends. And I just wanted to bring that up because I commend the UCP government and Daniel Smith for creating us this ability to have our voice heard. And it's important. So other than that, I figured I'd do a quick live for YouTube and Facebook. And I hope you guys, subscribe to our YouTube page. Also, don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook. All our socials are at the top bars, so you just go to those sites and you can follow us there. And don't forget, you can email us, jason@albertaradio.ca, and visit our website, albertaradio.ca. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave you guys with one of my new releases. I'm working on music, so hope you guys enjoy. So much love, and God bless Alberta. See you guys later.